And it was a picture of these horrible cages. And they said, look at these cages. President Trump built them. And then it was determined they were built in 2014. That was him.
Do you have a plan to reunite the kids?
Yes, we're working on it we're trying very hard. But a lot of these kids come out without the parents. They come over through cartels and through coyotes and through gangs.
Vice President Biden, let me bring you into this conversation. Quick response and then another question to you.
These 500 plus kids came with parents. They separated them at the border to make it a disincentive to come to begin with. Real tough. We're really strong. And guess what? They cannot, it's not coyotes didn't bring them over. Their parents were with them. They got separated from their parents. And it makes us a laughing stock and violates every notion of who we are as a nation.
Let me ask you a follow-up question.
They did it. We changed the policy.
Your response to that?
They did it. We changed.
Did not.
They built the cages. Who built the cages, Joe?
Let's talk about what we're talking about.
Who built the cages, Joe?
Let's talk about what we're talking about.
Staying on the topic of AOC, y'all remember that time she went down there to South Texas to a Border Patrol facility to stage a photo op? She was crying in a parking lot down there. I think that was in McAllen, Texas. Acting like she actually gave a damn about the illegal immigrants down there. She pretended to cry, then she got on a private jet and flew back to her luxury apartment in DC. And they tried to smear Trump as racist, talking about kids in cages. Look at this. He's ripping babies out of mama's arms. He's so inhumane. He doesn't give a damn. Did you know that it was still happening to this day as of September 2023? And this thing started during the Obama era. All the pictures that the leftist media show were taken in 2014 when Obama was the president. It continued to happen when Trump was elected. Then they made changes. Then Biden restarted putting kids in cages and adults in cages in 2021, and it's still going on. Down there in the blistering heat in Arizona, they have a border patrol station in, I think it's Ajo, Arizona, in the middle of nowhere, basically. Just the Sonora Desert, hot as the sun bitch in the middle of nowhere. So if you actually dig and look into this, migrants are still pouring in across the border over there, and a lot of them are just being put in these cages. And these cages are outdoor cages. Hot as hell in the summer, cold as hell in the winter. But most people don't know about it because the media has chosen to not talk about it. They can't use it as a cudgel to smear Trump, so they want to ignore the situation. And when you look at these images, it's a bunch of people crammed in there during the summer. It's up to 114 degrees out there. They didn't even have a mat on the ground. Like, you're outside. Imagine being outside in a desert. Rocks, plantations, scorpions, all this crap. And then they just put a fence around you. They didn't put up a tarp. They didn't put down mats. They didn't put down wood. Nothing. Just locked them up in there. And they were out there. They had a bench. At least they had a bench. And they were kind of huddled up on the bench. They were trying to follow the little piece of shade. As the sun would move across the sky, there was a little piece of shade there. So they were all huddled up trying to get some type of relief from the scorching heat. Now, these immigrants have some blame in there because they are the one who chose to break into the country legally. But the response to this is horrific. So Border Patrol is fighting among themselves. These guys are arguing. They're blaming management. Some of the guys are throwing management on the bus. And it goes all the way to the top. It goes up to Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security, that shitbag. It goes to the border czar, Kamala Harris, who does nothing. She doesn't even know, because this woman is a dumbass, doesn't even know anything about illegal immigration. She knows nothing about what's going on at the border, and she doesn't give a damn. And of course, it goes all the way to the very top, to the decrepit old man and his handlers. And they don't give a damn. As long as the media, which is an arm of the DNC, as long as the media keeps it out of the spotlight, they can continue to not give a damn. They don't even have to pretend to give a damn. And allegedly, there's some law that came in 2020 where when these migrants come to the country, within 48 hours, you need to give them a cot, a bed or something, give them some food, some water, do a medical assessment, etc. But it's not happening down there. These guys are just shoved into the cage. They may be there for weeks at a time, and who knows? So what happens is this cage area is about 20 miles from the border. They come up, and most of them volunteer to go there because they're trying to seek asylum. They come up, or they get rounded up, and they're taken there for intaking. Then they're eventually taken to Yuma, Arizona or Tucson, Arizona, to larger facilities for processing and given court dates. And these court dates are 9-10 years away. So they'll take them from the cage, then they'll take them to Tucson, and they'll say, okay, your court date is in 2035. Show up 10 years from now, 11 years from now to your court date. Meanwhile, we're going to work on getting you a work permit and you're free to go into the country. This is what's going on down there in Arizona. And Trump was building a wall down there on the Arizona-Mexico border, but it's incomplete. So the cartels, the smugglers, all these guys, they have exploited this region right here because there's a big gap. Because at first, the Tucson area, Yuma, and definitely South Texas were hit really hard, and Border Patrol can only be stretched so thin. So they had to push resources there, and they left a big gap in this Ajo area, Ajo, Arizona area. So the cartel said, look, we got a gap in the wall. We don't have a lot of BCP down there. So let's push our drugs through here. If these guys want to be smuggled into the country, they can pay us as coyotes and we'll bring them into the country through here. So this place is being overrun, completely overwhelmed. And like I said, there's infighting. The local department, the medical examiner saying we're finding way too many bodies out there in the desert. This is horrific. This is inhumane. The sheriff of Tucson is throwing BCP under the bus. He's using all types of explicitives when he's describing BCP and their actions, what's going on with these guys in cages out here. And meanwhile, people like AOC, she's up there in New York gaslighting, but in actuality, she doesn't even give a damn. She doesn't care that bodies are being found out here in the desert, that these people are huddled up in a cage at a Border Patrol facility. These people only talk about this stuff when it benefits them politically. That's why the only reason why they even went to New York to the Roosevelt Hotel was because it was a political issue. They don't want to lose votes because New Yorkers are starting to get pissed off and they're just trying to quiet things down. They said, look, just calm down, be quiet. Let's forget it happened. Shut up and vote for me again. And these cages are getting pretty bad. So they have porta potties, these porta johns. They can't empty them out every day. So they get full and they're talking about the smell. It's completely reeking from tens of feet away. You can just smell it. It's overfilling. It's absolutely disgusting. These people during the wintertime, they were complaining about the cold. They were coming in with jackets. Border Patrol said, look, you might shank me from the jacket. You might have a shank. So I'm taking the jacket. And they were giving them these, the aluminum things that they put on during the natural disaster. So it was cold as hell out there, and that's what they had to warm themselves up with. And the whole issue with them laying on gravel, sand, and rocks, they were literally fighting the immigrants. The illegal immigrants were in a cage fighting over pieces of cardboard. Like when they would bring food out, like apples or something, they would have them in these cardboard boxes. And they would give them to the migrants, and the migrants would keep the cardboard so they can lay down on. And they were fighting over pieces of cardboard. And finally, after almost a year, BC put down a little tarp. But there's still no relief from the heat. And these people out here suffering, being caged like animals. Then you have that leftist Democrat Katie Hobbs, the one who beat Carrie Lake. She won the Arizona governor's office without doing anything. She wouldn't even debate the Republican challenger. She literally just sat there and had D by her name. The people in Phoenix, all across Arizona, they didn't even know who the hell she was, what she looked like. But these sheep, they said vote blue no matter who. She said, I don't have to debate a Republican. These people are going to vote for whatever Democrat we put up there. And right now, this governor isn't doing anything. She's not trying to help at all. She hasn't even talked about it. And she can't take the Greg Abbott approach where Greg Abbott said, y'all want to overrun my state and my cities with illegal immigrants? How about I send them to you, to your sanctuary cities? But because she's on the left, she has to sit there and take it. The DNC, Biden with his open border policies, they push him through Arizona. She just has to turn the other way because she's not allowed to step out of line. Otherwise, she'd be gone. So her state is going to be completely overrun down there in southern Arizona. And that's one of the reasons why Arizona turned blue. Even though there's a lot of fishing that's going on with the 2020 election, but they're flooding Arizona with illegal immigrants. And then they get illegal immigrants all types of free stuff, and they say, hey, the Republicans are racist. Then they go to Latino neighborhoods and hit them with all these mail-in ballots and say, vote blue, vote blue. And next thing you know, a person like Joe Biden, a decrepit old senile old pedophile old man, wins the election, and a terrified trash Democrat, Katie Hobbs, becomes the governor. And they want to continue the strategy. So all these people, white majority people who mostly vote Republican, these people who voted for John McCain for decades, you guys are being pushed out. Your vote is meaning less and less and less because they're flooding southern Arizona all the way up to the Phoenix area with illegal immigrants. And they're going to vote 2 out of 3 for the Democrat. So that's a election power strategy that the Democrats are pulling right there in Arizona. And when it comes down to these cages, we know AOC, she doesn't give a damn. She's just a flaming hypocrite. But what about the ACLU? They talk about racist this, racist that. And if you post something on Twitter that they think has any resemblance of any type of offense, they'll take offense to it. They're quick to call you a racist. They'll talk all this trash. You got the League of Latin Americans, the League of United Latin Americans or something like that. Where are they? You got all these Latin Americans down here in a cage. See, this is why these organizations like this have lost their credibility. Because they're quick to talk trash to Republicans and then call Republicans racist and xenophobic. But when a governor, Katie Hobbs, when Democrat leadership, Joe Biden, the czar, Kamala Harris, when Secretary Mayorkas, who is a piece of garbage, when they do absolutely nothing, when they have Latinos in a cage burning up in the heat, freezing in the wintertime, treating them like animals, these organizations have nothing to say. Because they are arms of the DNC, the Democrat Party. You got the media on one arm, and then you got these trash organizations, NAACP, ACLU, the United Latin League, whatever it's called. You got all these organizations working for the Democrats. And all of this stuff is just going to continue until you get the right leadership in there, until you get someone who's going to disincentivize this. The solution to stopping this, to stopping the overflow of migrants, because their excuse is we put them in a cage because we're overrun. Well, the excuse is to enforce the law, close the border, fight back against the cartels, deport this influx of migrants, and maybe you won't have to deal with the problem to this extent. Hey, before you go, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video. Thank you for watching.